I've been in properties now since I was 15, actually. I was looking after, I was studying in a private school up in the north. My parents were actually in Kenya,
Okay.
and they'd bought a portfolio of properties, and I was in charge of those properties. Looking for tenants, renting rooms out to students. So
So you were a
that's how
15-year-old
far
student
I,
looking
I
after
was
your
a
parents'
15-year-old.
portfolio and renting out the
That's right.
properties.
Absolutely.
Did
That's
they
how
pay
I
you for
started
that?
off. Yes, though I tell you what they paid me for that.
Yeah.
I was paid my upkeep, which started off with £5 a
Wow.
week,
Wow.
and that used to go a long way. And that was for my food, my bus fare, going to school, and it was a private school.
Sure.
Now, it then increased to £7 in a couple of years. Um, it was interesting. It was interesting. There were a lot of foreign students at that time from Iran, the Middle East, and I used to go in the evenings to the colleges looking for tenants
Okay.
after school. So that's how I started off. I love property since then. In the 80s, I started a property company and slowly built it up. So I got very, very well known in providing accommodation to mostly local authorities, um, also providing accommodation to the Home Office.
Sure.
Um, what then happened is we were also, I was quite active in the auctions in the 80s. So I was actually going into auctions. I started when I was 21, 22, and I
Okay.
started going to auctions, buying and selling, buying and selling. So that was quite lucrative.
When you were looking after your parents' portfolio to when you started your property company in the 80s, what sort
Yeah.
of values and how did the value of properties increase at that point from, are we talking what, 70s, 60s sort of thing when you were looking after your parents' portfolio?
No, that was from 1975 to about 1980.
And
And then,
when you started your property company, did you see a massive gain in property value from?
no. You see, because I was up north, um, the gains were very low. The gains were mainly in London.
Okay.
There, the return was higher.
Okay.
So basically, up north in those days, you would make 18% return
Wow.
on properties. Yeah.
Wow.
But don't forget, the interest rates were very high.
Indeed.
Yeah. And after that, what happened, although we were buying cash, we were not borrowing any money.
Pouring in.
Yeah. So by 80, we sold everything. I moved back to Kenya. And then I came back in 82 and I set up a company here. We started buying a lot of properties in auctions. So we're wheeling, dealing in the auctions quite a lot.
Sure.
And then we started buying a lot of petrol sites. Mostly we specialized in petrol sites and shops. And we'd buy them and flip them, you know.
Okay. Okay.
We're making good money on that.
Would you
And
set
then,
them up as a petrol site or no? You would just.
no. This was rented out to the major companies.
Got you.
There would be like a 15-year lease. So
Okay.
what we used to do is we used to target the ones that would have a review pending or review coming up, rent review in a year, and we'd pick those up.
Okay.
And there was a lot of British rail sites that were coming up in the market at that time.
Sure.
And we were buying prior to auction. We'd just ask the auctioneer, how much is it? And say this much. We'd say, okay, we'll take it. Sometimes we'd flip it straight away
Do you think
within
you
a
get
couple of
better
weeks.
deals before auctions or you get better deals on the auction day?
I think you get better deals before auction, prior to auction.
Okay.
But there was a time that a lot of vendors will not sell prior to auction.
Okay.
because they know when it goes in the ring, there's few people fighting for it.
Exactly.
The key was identifying the property,
Gotcha.
trying to get it prior to auction, and you could do one of two things: complete on it, or you could flip it
Okay.
with the exchange, or you could ask the auctioneer to carry on and keep it in the auction.
Gotcha.
But it got a bit complicated after. I won't name the player; he's a friend of mine. He came into the market and he bought a whole catalogue, British Rail catalogue.
Wow.
And what he did is he asked the auctioneer to carry on with the auction.
Okay.
And he made 30% above whatever he'd paid.
Woo.
So when British Rail actually saw that, they refused to sell any more prior to auction.
Gotcha.
What they said is no, because it looks like, the properties will fetch more in the ring. And that's what happened. So it got a bit tougher in the auction because a lot of other players came in who were never there. I won't shirk from saying it was the Asian buyers, Indian buyers from Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania. They came into the market in 85, 86. The Iranian buyers came in. And basically, the prices just went up and up. They started shooting up.
So the word got around and people started hearing
Yeah,
about how they can make massive gains and
that's
buy
right.
from the
Yeah.
auction and everything. Do
So
you think
they
buying
did.
in the auction in the 1980s, 1985 was better to buying in the auction today?
I think so. Yeah, yeah.
Would you consider
It
yourself
was.
going to an auction again in today's market? And
No, I stopped going to auction. I do go from time to time. I don't buy for myself.
okay,
I buy for clients. Yeah. So I have
gotcha.
some Middle Eastern clients, um, and I'd identify something for them. And it's usually something they want to use. It's commercial.
Yeah,
It's also I also represent a charity. I've done a lot of work for them.
okay.
So I don't think there were deals after 88, 89. There were deals coming back on, but then again it started in the same situation. People, competing against each other, overbidding. Sometimes the property would be higher than what you would buy it on the open market.
Of course.
So it was silly going in there and bidding. But I think that situation is coming back again,
Okay.
because what the auctioneers are doing is they're pulling out a lot of properties which are in the catalogue and not putting them through, because they don't want people to lose the confidence,
Mm.
and their figures then look bad. Yeah.
Yep.
They want to show figures of 80% sold, 85%. I'm talking about all across the board. All the
Of
big
course.
auctioneers are doing that now.
Of course.
They're pulling a lot of properties off the catalogue and saying it's been withdrawn. It's been
Yeah.
withdrawn.
I
Yeah,
mean, I had this in February when I went to bid for a
yeah,
client of mine in the auction,
yeah,
and I think two of the properties that we had set our minds on
yeah,
from the six properties that we were going to bid for, they pulled out the two properties. So and in whole, they pulled out about 10 properties just before the auction was going to start.
yeah. They're doing that. They're doing more of that now.
Yeah.
So I think the next 6 months you are going to see a lot of properties that will be distressed properties coming on the
Do
market.
you think this is because of the fact that a lot of people are going to get their houses repossessed because they can't pay their mortgages?
I don't think it'll be more so houses.
Or
It will
properties, it'd
probably
be
be, yeah, it'll probably be the first casualty, I think, will be hospitality, uh, like pubs, restaurants. These are going to suffer massively.
commercial properties, you mean?
Yeah. Then you will have retail, which is suffering anyway. And since the lockdown, more and more people are becoming sort of internet shopping wise, they're becoming
They're
more
becoming
active.
savvy. Yep. Yep.
Yeah. The other big market I think that's going to be affected is serviced offices and hot desking. That's out of the window. Like WeWork is going to suffer,
Absolutely.
right?
Big time.
They're
Big time.
already suffering anyway.
With all this Zoom calls
Yeah,
and go-to meetings and
that's it. Yep.
and these guys
So
are
you've got,
Zoom call is
you've
now
got,
stepping up their game with getting more servers in because they can't
yeah,
compete with how many people that are coming in. They can't keep up with them, and it's like
yeah.
it's rather than
If
having
you
a
think, if you think of the market value of Zoom, it is equivalent to 7 of the largest airlines combined.
of course.
That's the market value at the moment.
Had you invested in Zoom before the
You would
lockdown?
have made a fortune. Look, it's the same thing with Bitcoin. If you had bought it
Absolutely,
for $200,
absolutely, absolutely.
So these things happen. You will have some hotels also coming on the market. You're looking at not now immediately, but probably end of first quarter next year and the second quarter. Not many, but there will be a few coming up.
And as you're
Because
a
the interest,
hotelier, this is the question I want to ask you.
yeah,
Why would these hotels be coming on the market? Is it the fact that fear is so much in the minds of human population now that they don't want to interact
yeah.
with other people, or is it just because
No, I don't think that's the only thing. I think people will start traveling, will start using hotels, will start going to pubs, will start going to restaurants. Interest is very low. The problem that I see is where the banks will cause the problem, in the sense that, say somebody is on a 70% loan to value, which is a very dangerous position to be in,
of course,
especially at this time.
of course.
Uh, you know my position. I'm never geared more than 10 to 20%. I've always worked on that basis. I know
Yeah,
some people will say I'm stupid, but I'm not. That's how I increase, and I stay safe. Yeah.
indeed, indeed.
Um, and I've survived through all the stuff that's happened in the 80s, the 90s, 2007. I always survived because I'm very careful about my gearing. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now, say you were geared 70% on a hotel, uh, and the bank said, okay, we want to revalue in 3 months or 4 months. The Where the occupancy was 75, 80, 85%, occupancy is now 30, 35%, right? When they open,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that may go on for 6, 7, 8 months. They want to revalue. What is your loan to value now? It's going to be 100%.
Of course, of course.
So the bank will say, fine, you're not 100%. We'll give you a bit of a leeway for a couple of months. We want you to find the money to cover the 30%. It's happened before. It's
And
happened before.
this happened in like 2008, 2007, things like
It's
that.
happened, yeah, 89, 90, between 89 and 92, it happened. And I think that's what's going to happen. What may also happen is those people who are geared up like 70, 75, 80%, they may just walk away. They may actually give the bank the keys.
Wow.
After 6 months, they will try, but if they see there's no light at the end of the tunnel, they will probably give the keys to the bank themselves and say, look, we don't see, is it going to take 18 months? But I think I'm quite optimistic. I think by next summer, we will be fine. Things will start picking up.
Unless
It's not going
something
to
like this
last
comes
forever.
along again.
Unless something like that. We never know.
Yeah.
It's going to be difficult for people in, for example, hotels. It's going to be quite difficult. Pubs, restaurants. the social distancing things, the sanitizing, and a lot of things. Now, particularly in hotels, I'll tell you what we're doing, and we're
This is
doing
what I want to speak to you about,
the
because your hotel,
the
you're building
yeah,
something in Luton right now.
yeah.
How are you gearing up for when you open up?
Oh, okay. So I'll tell you first what has affected us. We were supposed to be open now, but because of this 3 months we lost, we cannot get the materials to finish off.
Indeed.
So we will open sometime end of September. First of all, that's cost us money
Of course. You got
because
to
it's
hold the property
prolonged.
without doing
Yeah,
any work. You got to keep the
yeah,
construction people there, all that kind of
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, and you're not putting the output is not there. Yeah, the thing that we're then looking at is, okay, so how do we tackle this issue? We're going to introduce a camera, a thermal camera. So anybody walks in, we can see the temperature.
Gotcha.
It is then up to us to accept that client or not. So that's number one.
Even though they may have done the booking via booking.com?
Doesn't matter. Doesn't
Doesn't
matter.
matter. So you can
Yeah, because
refuse
of
them
the
on the
safety.
spot.
Yes, on the spot you can say, "I'm sorry, we cannot accept your booking."
And a lot of
Or
these hotels are taking these measures of installing thermal cameras?
not a lot. Probably a few are thinking of it. Yeah,
Okay.
but we're already looking at it, and I have already told my supplier to decide which one we're going for.
Gotcha.
So that's number one. Number two, so what you can do is either you refuse the booking, or if you feel you can isolate him, which I think is a little bit dangerous, right? Because you've then got
Of course, you're
you
letting him into the hotel, and then
you're letting him into the
he's
hotel.
going to go in the lift, he's going to touch
Yeah, he's
stuff.
going to go in the lift, he's going to go on the stairs, he's going to go in the bar area. So what you're doing is, uh, you have to refuse. You have to be tough. You have to refuse. So the other people coming in, straight away, they have a sanitizer there. So clean your hands. Don't go to reception. We're setting up the kiosks for self-check-ins.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so that's
So
number
something
two.
like when you go to the airport, you have those small screens and everything,
Yeah,
and then you touch
that's
your...
right.
Okay.
Yeah, so you've either booked online and you come and collect your key at not the reception desk. You just tap into that, collect your key, or you book in there. Now, if you're having a problem, then reception is always there to help. So that's the second thing. The third thing is that you can have either a card key or you have a mobile key. So
Gotcha.
when you check in,
So you can
you get
download
the
the
key on
app
your mobile.
and all that.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
that's it. So the key comes on your mobile.
Gotcha.
From there, you go to the lift. You have the key card, which in a lot of hotels is there, yeah? You can't enter the lift without that.
Yeah.
And then there'll be a notice there, not more than 2 people in the lift.
Wow.
And they must face the other way, yeah?
Okay. How will
Not
you
face each other.
how will you monitor that?
You can't monitor that, but people have
But
to be
you're
sensible.
going to be putting a note there that
Yeah, you put a notice there.
Gotcha.
Plus, where the kiosks are, there'll be the 2 meter social distancing between the two monitors. Yeah.
Yep.
You then go up to your room. You've got your mobile or your key card. You go in. Now that room has been sanitized. So we're looking at three different options, and all hotels, Marriott's are looking at it, Hilton are looking at it. So you have two options.
When you
One,
mean sanitized, is it something like fumigated or something like that?
yeah, there is a fumigation which lasts for 28 days.
Okay.
They're using it in care homes.
Okay.
So it sort of puts a film on everything in the room, in the bathroom, and everywhere. That lasts for 28 days. Even if somebody has the virus and comes into that room, it'll kill that virus. Yeah.
Gotcha.
It will not stay in the room for 28 days.
Can I
But
just ask you, and
what?
you took all these measures before like when COVID was still in China, for example,
No,
or
no,
you
no,
took
no,
these
no.
measures once the lockdown was
No, no,
announced?
no, no, no. Everybody's taking these measures from now on when we're going to open. Nobody
Gotcha.
was taking these measures.
Gotcha.
You were just sending the cleaner in, she was cleaning, and she was out, right? Now they have to spend more time cleaning.
And more staff,
So,
and more
yeah,
people, and
so
more
more
hours,
people,
more money.
more hours. And are you going to get the rates? Yeah, that's
So,
the other
so
difficulty.
say something that before lockdown and before COVID, you were charging something like £80 per night per room, for example.
Yeah.
Now you'll be charging what, 120,
No,
150?
you can't. No, you can't because there are less guests than there are hotel rooms.
Of course.
So you will probably be charging because the other guy's charging 70 or 65. So that's what you'll be charging. You'll actually be charging less than what you were charging.
So this could end up in you making a loss.
It could end up in making a loss in the short term. Yeah. So those ones who are actually overgeared, they will have a problem to service the debts, to pay the staff, extra cleaning. Yeah.
Someone like Dorchester, for example.
But he's a billionaire, so it doesn't affect him. He could leave it empty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But yeah, a lot of hotels will feel the pinch. Then you have another system, which is putting a UVC lamp
Okay.
in the room, and you leave the UVC lamp for 20 minutes while the cleaners are cleaning another room. And they then come back to this room, switch off the UV. Well, it's automated, so it switches off in
Gotcha.
20 minutes. Take it out, leave the door open for 20 minutes to air, and then seal the room. Close the room, put a seal on the door that room has been cleaned out. Nobody else is now to go in.
And this measure is going to be taken every time someone checks in and checks out.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Wow. So let's say right now you have your mindset that, okay, it takes about 15 to 20 minutes to clean one room. This could now take half an hour to
30
45
minutes.
minutes.
About 30 minutes we're
30 minutes.
estimating, yeah?
Wow. Wow.
Then after that, what you have is in the restaurants and the bar. So basically the bar has to have social distancing as well. So you will have less people sitting there. So less trade. For breakfast, normally most hotels they spread out a buffet.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's not going to happen.
So
You can't have a buffet.
So you're going to be sending breakfast up to the room?
Either you can do that, or you'll have grab and go.
Okay.
Or you will have waitress service with people social distancing in the restaurant.
Gotcha.
So that's what's going to happen during this time. Whether it'll go back to the old system, I don't know. Yeah. So you've got all these problems that hoteliers are facing.
Wow. This is, I mean,
And if you have,
I would never think of something like this, but
yeah,
okay. The thing that I was thinking of, that hotels are going to have a real hard time. But what sort of a real hard time is now coming to light, that these are the measures that, and this is, we're talking about one hotel, or someone having 10 hotels, for example. What's going to happen in places, this is London, but what's going to happen in places like resorts, Maldives, for example, Thailand, for example,
yeah, what's going to happen there? Yep.
it's
Very, very difficult. You see, one other thing is, right, the government was talking about, they haven't given guidelines yet for hotels what should happen. What they have said is, if you let one floor, don't let the other floor. I think it was in Germany they were doing that, right?
Gotcha.
Or you let every other room. So you let one room, you leave one room vacant. Somewhere else, what they were doing was they were letting the room, and they said you can't re-let it for 7 days. So where are we ending up?
And
If
do
you can't
you,
let that room for 7 days.
do you think that this is like, once you adopt to this sort of normality, which is the new normal that everyone's talking about, do you think that once you're into it, like, for example, just putting myself into context out here, 2 months sitting at home, I wasn't in the
Yeah,
office, I wasn't doing viewings, I wasn't, all that kind of stuff that was happening around me. Now coming
yeah,
back to it, and I'm lucky enough to be in this position that the government's allowed estate agents, property agents to go out and start working, because the
yeah.
property market is the market that booms the economy in the UK. And still, it's hard to face the facts of like wearing a mask, wearing gloves, sanitizing your hands, adopting to all these things. And how long till this goes back to the normal that people start, running
I
their
don't know. I
life?
mean, when I walk around Luton, for example, because I live in Harrow, so I go to
Yep,
Luton every day.
yep,
So
yep.
when I go out to grab a sandwich, or I go to the bank, I mean, I'm wearing my mask, I'm wearing my gloves. But 90% of the people there in the town centre are not doing anything. They're
Anything.
not wearing masks, they're not wearing gloves, and they're walking around as normal. They're socializing, there's no social distance.
Yep.
I mean, I cross over, I try and avoid people, but they're not doing it. So are we heading towards the normal, or are we heading towards the spike, you know?
This is exactly where we're at right now. I mean,
Yeah,
whether it's going to bring out that second wave again, and if it does bring out that second wave again,
yeah,
then how are how is the hospitality business going to survive? Because now we're looking at easing the lockdown,
yeah.
so we are moving towards that fact. But if
It's
there's a spike again, then
it's going to be difficult. It's going to
of
be
course.
difficult. I don't know what's going to happen now. If people have got it, are they immune? We don't know. Uh, is there going to be a vaccine very soon? Is there going to be treatment for it? I don't know. I mean, everything depends on all these factors.
Did you ever think
But
that you will see a time like this being 40 years in property,
never,
from
never, never, never ever seen anything like this. This is scary. This is bad. But you know what? Every situation, there is always an opportunity. Yeah.
of course.
And my banker was actually telling me, because I do very low gearing, he is actually telling me that in March I want you to be ready to buy. Now a banker telling me that.
Wow. So I'm
And
sure he's getting his words from somewhere.
yeah. So he's saying around March or second quarter, end of first quarter, second quarter, wait. There's no rush, because I was actually negotiating to buy another place
Yep, yep.
in February, and the deal was not actually done.
So
We were still negotiating.
you're still negotiating.
Uh, yeah, so I then got but it wasn't one place. There were two places I was negotiating, and from one of the callers, one of the guys who vendor, he called me, I think about 4 weeks ago. He said, "Will you still be buying?" And I said, "Probably, but at half the price that we were negotiating to start." Yeah. And he said, "No." I said, "Well, I may pick up something at half the price." but it won't be. There won't be a lot. It'll be very distressed stuff, and I don't think it'll be half price. But I think it'll be somewhere around 35%.
35%.
Yeah,
But do you
that's my
think
gut feeling.
do you think, like, you're a property developer, a hotelier, do you think the property markets in London and the UK are going to drop that drastically, like 35%, 40%?
No. I was talking specifically about hotels.
Okay,
Not all the hotels, because not everybody is going to sell.
of course.
They're not interested in selling. The interest is very low.
Yep,
It'll just be the distressed ones.
gotcha.
The distressed ones
The boutique
will be sold
sort of hotels and all that.
at maybe the higher end, very higher end. The lower end, maybe 20-25%,
Gotcha.
because there's more demand for that. Yeah. Now, houses, I think, probably 20-25% residential, because it's already happening. And this is from a friend of mine. He was selling a property. It was a flat, and he was selling it for 360,000.
This is pre-lockdown.
Pre-lockdown. The contract was already out, and the purchaser has asked for a discount of 40,000. Otherwise, he's not exchanging.
Wow.
So that is roughly about 12.5%, 13%
Yep.
already.
Yep.
And that's not the only one. There was another guy saying it's happening to him as well.
So do you think it's the right, if you can hold the property and if you've got the cash flow and the power to hold the property rather than sell it, do you think it's best to hold it right now until next year?
Not until next year. Hold it longer than that.
So this is going to carry on for a while.
Yeah. Because the aftershock will take time to wear off. Yeah. It always takes about 2 to 3 years to wear off.
Wow.
But what I think is, if you've got cash, I think wait.
Don't buy.
Don't rush. Don't rush. Wait.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah. Wait till the first quarter.
Before I wrap up this conversation, I mean, it's been such an amazing conversation that I've had with you. I wanted to speak to someone.
Mustafa, I enjoy talking to you.
Thank
you know
so
that.
much. Thank you so much. Before I go, we spoke about how you're adopting your hotel in terms of after lockdown and when you open up. What would your advice be to people all around the world, in London, in the UK, who are going through all this negativity in their minds, who've lost their jobs, who've been made redundant, who've gone on furlough, you know, who've just lost their businesses. You know, there's so many businesses, like you mentioned, retail business is now gone. It's gone. It's like 5 of my friends are on Amazon. They sell on Amazon, right? And they were telling me that their cash flow has not doubled, but quadrupled.
My God.
During this lockdown. So, and these guys are like now running themselves as kings, you know?
Yeah.
So how would you advise them, and what positivity would you share with them that they can come out of all this negative? And let's say someone wants to start a job, someone wants to start a business, someone wants to buy a property. What would you advise them?
I look, first of all, you know, it's very sad. A lot of people are losing their jobs. I hope the market bounces back. In the short term, it won't, right? It'll take time. But eventually it will. I think retail is going to be in problems for a long, long time. You see, a lot of people go into auctions and buy retail investments, and they are really, really screwed. Sorry to use that word.
Yep.
But, you know, even people buying stuff like Travelodge, which it had a CVA not long ago. You know, if I were in somebody's place looking at buying a Travelodge, I know they came out of the CVA.
Can you just elaborate what a CVA is?
A CVA is You know, I'm getting old
I've
now.
put you on the spot now.
No, no. It's a voluntary arrangement.
Okay.
I'm slowing down in my old age. It's a voluntary arrangement they came to with their creditors. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a creditors voluntary arrangement.
Okay.
Where they had to go and talk to the landlords, because they normally operate in leasehold properties. They lease for 35 years.
Gotcha.
It used to be 3.5% return, right?
Yeah.
Travel lodge.
Yeah.
And then after the CVA, it went on to 5.5%. Nobody would touch it at 3.5%. But even then, I was thinking people should not have been touching Travelodge anyway. And now they've gone and they've done the dirty. I mean, it's a short term asking their landlords that they don't want to pay them. Somebody's taken them to court now, one of the landlords. They could have come to some arrangement and said, look, we'll pay less. But they didn't. So as far as retail is concerned, I think that's buggered. Yeah?
Yeah.
That's totally buggered.
Yeah.
The high streets, you have these, like, people buying at 3.5%, 4%, 5%. It's ridiculous,
Of course.
Residential, there's still a market for it. Yes,
people need a
are
house
struggling.
To live.
Yeah, there's still people struggling to pay at the moment, but it's a short-term thing. The government is not going to want to see a lot of people on the streets. Yeah,
of course.
There's a demand for residential, but then it was silly buying at like 3.5%. I think the returns have got to go up on residential. So that's why I'm saying a correction of 25%. I can see that. Yeah.
Sure.
It's going to happen. Now, as far as people opening up new businesses, hold on to cash. Cash is king. Don't do it. Take my example. I was putting another floor on the hotel.
Yep.
You know what? I even started putting the scaffolding up. You know that.
Yep.
I actually took the scaffolding off. I think we had to write off about £70,000 on the scaffolding and enabling works. No, that's fine. That's fine. Instead of spending another £1 million on another floor, I'd rather that sits in the bank.
Of course.
Because at the moment, you don't know. It's very uncertain times. Hold on to the cash you have. Don't spend the money.
Absolutely.
Because you don't know when you'll need it. Times are going to be tough for 18 months, possibly 24 months. But I think there's light at the end of the tunnel. Let's not be too negative.
Of course.
I think
it's all about giving a positive advice. I want to end it on a positive note.
I think we'll be back to normal very soon. As soon as it could be 8 months, it could be 12 months. But the recovery will be a bit longer than that. Yeah.
Before you go, are you in the market?
I am in the market not now, but I will be in the market around March. I need to spend quite a bit of money.
Absolutely.
But I need something that's got a development angle. I don't buy the ready-made properties. You know that.
Yep.
I need something that I can develop or flip. Yeah.
Of course.
So if you get anything, let me know.
Absolutely. You know where listening to this, you know where I am. Get in touch with me. I'll send it to
Thanks, Murtaza. Thanks.
Thank you so much for joining me. It's been a pleasure talking to you and sharing all that positivity with me, all that knowledge.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
See you then. Take care. We'll catch up.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So, guys, that was Mr. Ali Mussani, one of my clients, my mentor, the person I speak to every time, I want to see some direction. Shared all his facts about how hotels are gearing up for post-lockdown. It's shocking. The cost of the hotel, the cost to the owner of the hotel, just to make their hotels free from having viruses and all that kind of stuff. So it was absolutely amazing talking to him. Thank you to all the viewers that tuned in. to listen to this amazing live session. And tomorrow we've got 3 more live sessions. Do tune in and let me know. Put some comments, guys. Put some comments, you know. So leave them in the live session, IGTV video that I do. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.